Greetings, everyone. This is Payman Lawrence, the host of the Leader Podcast. Today, for episode 305, I have another great guest for you, my new good friend, Lefteris Lefty. Wonderful name. I love the name. And reminds me of one of my favorite characters from that Al Pacino played in one of those best movies, Lefty, Donnie Brasco. Amazing. Yeah. So anyways, Lefteris is also from Toronto, just like me, east side of Toronto, even further east than me. And we connected through our good common friend and my coach, Jay Lee. And we were in the same, one of the same master classes. And I've seen his name a lot, and I see him doing beautiful work, especially is a filmmaker for Jay, for people that I know. And I said, wow, he caught my attention. We got on the call about a few weeks ago, and from the get-go, I knew that I had to bring him on the show to share his story. And speaking of the story, he has an incredible story. We'll unpack that in a moment. Just a little bit about him. As I said, is from Toronto. Is an award-winning documentary filmmaker, and he helps business owners and entrepreneurs create a lifetime of ROI and legacy. So we're gonna talk about that. That's amazing. I can't wait to get started. Lefteris, my friend, welcome to the show.
Thank you for having me. This is awesome. I think, like I said before the show, you're the first person to get me up so early.
What time is it for you right now?
6:13 a.m. But
Wow.
in order to prepare and get myself awake, I had to be up from 5 a.m. So
Oh, wow.
kudos to you, my friend.
I appreciate it. I'm honored. Thank you. And we'll have an amazing time here tonight. Here is 6 o'clock in the evening here, Tuesday night. So, but anyways, I'm happy to be finally to having you on the show, my friend. So tell us, for people who don't know you, we're gonna talk about your business and the impact you're having on later on. But as a person, as a man, as a human being, who's Lefteris?
Lefteris is a guy who always just wants to have fun, who doesn't necessarily take life very seriously, and understands that without friends, without family, without human connection, you are pretty much nothing. Lefteris is a guy who was always the class clown, and I mean, you do see that sometimes in my comedy skits that I do. I always used to get kicked out of class for being too loud or disruptive or whatever the case might be. He's a husband, he's a gamer, he's a filmmaker, he's just an all around. I mean, I would like to say that I'm an all around fun, want to be around type of person, to toot my own horn a little bit.
Beautiful. We're gonna unpack all of that in a moment. So to start off, I'd like to ask you a series of rapid fire questions to further get to know you as a person. Ready?
Okay, let's go.
All right. What makes you happy as a person?
Making other people happy.
Love that. What makes you smile?
Everything, just being alive.
Oh, yes. Oh, yes. Now, what makes your heart sing? What sets your soul on fire in a good way?
Food, really good food.
You're a foodie, yeah? What kind of food?
Big time. Yeah. I mean,
What
you don't
kind-
get as big as I am without eating, right?
What kind of food is your favorite?
Oh man, I think if I can have pizza and sushi for the rest of my life, I would
Oh,
eat
yeah.
that and only that. But honestly, I love all cultures. I love all types of food. I'm blessed to not have a single allergy in that department, or any allergy period. So I have not fallen victim to not enjoy any food. So yeah, I would say food makes my heart sing.
Beautiful. Speaking of pizza, for you, pineapple on or no?
Absolutely on. It's a great mix between like sweet and sour almost. That's why not?
Oh,
Yeah. I got
I
pizza yesterday and there's pineapple on it.
I love my pineapple too, but my brother-in-law is Italian. Whenever I tell him he's about to have a heart attack, I said, no. I said, listen, I'm gonna treat you one time with it. You have to try it. He said, not on my dead body. I don't know what's up with the Italians and not wanting, pineapple on the pizza, but that's hilarious.
It's not authentic.
Yeah, yeah, I get it. Awesome. Now, what makes you sad and angry?
What makes me sad and angry? Huh. I used to have problems with things not going my way.
Mm,
Um, I know my wife likes to pick on me sometimes because a bit of this character kind of still comes out in me, and she likes to call it the only child syndrome, even though I have siblings. Um, but I was the firstborn, right? I was the
there you
firstborn,
go.
so
Yeah,
so so I got used to just having everything without having to share things for like the first 2 years of my life, right?
being the
So
boss. Yeah.
um,
Hmm.
so yeah, no, but I mean that's kind of like an ongoing joke that happens within the household where it's like, you know, if I want something, I need it now. But I think that also makes me an incredible entrepreneur too, is that the moment I put something in my mind, I need to have it, right? But um I don't know. I don't really get angry that much anymore. Like I try not to, and like if I do get angry about something, it's very small, and then I just forget it even happens. Like even if sometimes like if my wife and I were to have an argument, like she'll still hold on to the argument and it's like 20 minutes later I've already forgotten about it. Like I'm ready to move on. So yeah, I don't really get angry very much.
I'm the same. One of the things that my parents always taught us and emphasized is never hold grudges, because when you hold grudges, the only person really being hurting from this is yourself. You know,
Yes.
that's something I always
Yeah.
remember. And I'm just like you. We can have an argument, and then 5 minutes later, I'll give you a hug. I'll say, "What's up? I apologize." Whatever. Say, because there's no time to be upset and hold grudges against people,
No.
especially close people.
Yeah, yeah, yeah. Exactly. Absolutely. I completely agree.
Awesome. Now, what scares you?
What scares me? You know what? The older I used to be like a wild child. Like I mean, when I was younger, my parents actually almost well, actually it was my brother who stopped me, but I remember us being in Greece. We had a beautiful, beautiful condo in Athens, and I think we were on the third floor or something. And I had this like crazy idea to like go balcony jumping, right?
Mm-hmm.
Um, and he stopped me from doing it, even though, the balconies were maybe 3 feet apart from each other. But um, yeah, he stopped me from doing it, and I'm thankful that he did. But the point of the fear is that as a wild child, the moment I hit 30, it's like I all of a sudden had this like strange fear of heights.
Yeah. Wow.
But I don't think it's heights in general that I have a fear of. I think it's the fear of the unknown when I'm not in control. Like I hate ladders, for example. And I think the reason that I hate ladders is because when I'm up on a ladder, I'm not in control.
How about when you're on an elevator or when you're on a plane?
No, absolutely not. I travel no problem.
Okay, cool. Awesome.
See, I
Now,
think I think it's I think it's just the control thing. It's the
yeah,
it's
yeah,
the
yeah,
it's the it's controlling of the fear of where I am that makes it unsettling.
I hear you. What would you say is your number one personal superpower?
I'm a charmer. And I always have a smile on my face. I think it's very rare that you're ever going to see me not smile.
Yeah, I'm the same. My girlfriend calls me sometimes that I'm a smooth criminal while doing the Michael Jackson song. When it's something, a smooth criminal. Say, come on, stop being a smooth
Yeah.
talker.
Nice.
Yeah, awesome, awesome. Now, When was the last time that you had a really, really, really hearty, good laugh? The type of laugh that makes your cheek hurt, you're getting cramps, you cramps in your tummy, almost tears coming, like a really, really good laugh. Just like when we were kids laughing uncontrollably.
Huh. That was I honestly that was last week. That was like last week. Yeah, last week. That's the last time I had a laugh like that.
Well, tell us about that. What made you laugh
All
that?
right. Well, to uh, still kind of having that class clown, kind of not taking life very seriously. Um, I cannot, for the life of me, and I'm fully exposing myself right now, but for the life of me, I cannot hold in my laughter. I cannot hold in my childlike humor. If there's anything to do with a fart, I can't. Like I'll just die of laughter. I can't hold it in. It's just one of those things that like just makes me like laugh hysterically every single time.
Yeah.
Um, and then and there was an incident last week where my aunt and myself and a few other people that were there, we were just watching TV, and one happened to get let go, not for myself, but from another family member of mine, and it's just the way dogs react to them. How they almost like, huh? Like, like they're wondering where
Yeah.
the sound came from.
Dogs
And
have
we were
amazing facial expression. Yes.
and we were just laughing so hard. And I think and it was actually being recorded as well. So I thought
Oh,
it just made
wow.
it, yeah, it just made the whole thing even more funnier.
Are you going to include in one of your future highlights or reels as a filmmaker?
Oh, put it in a real. I mean, maybe there's certain type of humor that is allowed. Like, I feel like if I
Yeah.
was to like start a TikTok channel, I could
Yeah.
probably get away with stuff like that.
That will go
But
viral for sure.
yeah, but for the most part, I like to keep I like to keep my humor, kind of PG-13 adultish,
Yeah. Mhm.
but still with good fun.
Okay. Now, what is one thing that you used to value that you don't value anymore?
Oh, wow, great question.
Yeah.
I would probably say the clubbing industry.
Oh, okay.
Oh, I used to be a touring DJ for 20 years of my life.
Wow.
Yeah, I used to be a music producer and a touring DJ, so I got to play all over the United States. I got to play in Canada, of course,
Mm-hmm.
between Toronto, Montreal, Ottawa. Um, and I got to play in a couple cities and islands in Europe. So I
Wow.
did that for a very, very long time. Yeah, yeah, nightclubs, music festivals. I was partying sometimes like Thursday through Sunday. And then I would give myself like a 4-day break, and then I would go repeat the entire process all over again. Um, and yeah, I did it for so long that honestly, I thought there was like I honestly thought there was nothing else out there for me. Like I thought like
Mm.
that this is it. Like I am just gonna, DJ and perform uh pretty much for the rest of my life. Like I played a lot of like, techno and tech house, underground house type music. Uh very little lyrics, just all beats. Um but then if you want to go mainstream, I was a huge fan of the Swedish House Mafia. Um, I was at their last tour. I was I cried when they reunited at the Ultra Music
Uh,
Festival in Miami after breaking up for like 10 years. Yeah, so the music industry was a big part of my life, but I don't care for it at all anymore. It's like that part of my life, it was just that, a part of my life. Like it doesn't it
mhm.
doesn't shape who I am anymore. I still have my turntables and my DJ equipment that I like to bust out from time to time. I've gone on Facebook Lives and, had fun with you guys on my audience on Facebook. Just because it's cool to see where people come from, right? A lot of people come from a 9 to 5 job, for example, right?
Yes.
They really have nothing else to provide because it was just a 9 to 5 job. Where I like to say that it's really cool that I can share my other skills and my other expertises with my current audience still.
Mm.
Just because it's like, even if you're not a fan of house music, you people still just like music in general, right? um and I always told stories, even through music, right?
Beautiful.
So there was always a message behind my sets. And that's because a lot of the time I was playing 5+ hour sets.
Wow.
um yeah, so I kind of had to take you on a journey. I had to take you on a kind of like on an emotional roller coaster as well. Like, when I wanted you to chill out, I'd make you chill out. When I wanted you to get up and really dance your butt off, I really made you dance your butt off. It was I was really good with playing with heartbeats, and I think with storytelling, I feel like I still am pretty good at playing with heartbeats.
You have to be a storyteller because the skills of being a storyteller, that's something that is invaluable, especially in what you're in any business, but especially what you're doing as a filmmaker. Because what is a film? It's a story with pictures.
Yeah.
That's
Yes.
that's one of the basis of what you're doing.
Yeah.
So yeah, powerful, powerful. If you, I was having this conversation with a couple of friends before. If you put all the main events of your life on a board on a piece of paper, individually they seem completely unrelated. But if you look at, hey, what did I learn here? What was that? Because every phase you go prepares you for the next step. So you mentioned you were a DJ, you were, storyteller and all that. You learn skills, and those skills help you now in what you're doing as a filmmaker. And the skills you're learning as a filmmaker, they're gonna prepare you for what's gonna be next for you. And what you learned even before, prepare you to be a successful DJ before. So if you look at the major events of your life that way, it's really interesting to see how everything is actually connected. Nothing is random.
Yeah. Yeah. Of course. It's really cool. It actually is really cool. Because I mean, for me, see, I think for me, like, even though I'm still behind the camera, I've taken a little bit more of a director role,
Mm.
right? I direct projects now. So, yeah, I've been on 4-figure jobs, 5-figure jobs, like even 6-figure jobs, but they're all preparing me for when I get those 7-figure jobs,
Oh
those
yes,
8-figure jobs,
they're
right? Like,
coming. Yeah.
because those exist,
Oh,
right? I
absolutely.
mean, you don't, you don't make Avengers with 6 figures. You make it with
Nah.
9 and 10 figures, right? So,
Oh
I
yes.
mean, just to be on a set like that or work on a project like that, um, would be awesome. I mean, I don't know if any business owner would require a 10-figure film, but I mean, it would be really cool to do it. Jay Lee would probably be one of them. I've always talked to him about doing like an actual Sales Ninja movie.
Let's do it. That's why not.
Yeah, yeah, yeah. So we'll see. We'll see.
Yeah, just set the intention, put it out there, and let the universe take care of the rest.
Yeah, I agree. But yeah, no, storytelling is like, it was it was one of those things that were like indirect that became direct, right?
Mm.
Like, I would always, I never really pictured when I was playing music before. I never really thought of it from a storytelling standpoint until later on in my career. I was just very good at putting certain sounds and songs together that would go like cohesively. I mean, I've had people come up to me before when I was DJing, and I could be playing for like an hour, and you'll never hear a transition, right? Like, that's how fluid my sets were. where it's
Mm,
like you would think you're just listening to the same song, even though I've probably played 15 of them in that hour. Um, but and I think understanding that there was a story component to it allowed me to transition easily into filmmaking, because I remember when I was going to leave that part of my life, I sat with my wife, or I think she was probably just, yeah, she was my fiance at the time. But I sat down and I was like, I don't want to do this anymore. And I mean, who can really, I mean, not very many people throw themselves like a retirement party at 31, right? Um, and I did it. I did it. I was like, you know what? I'm gonna have one last shebang. But to get back to the story, we were sitting down and I was like, babe, oh my God, like if I need to be a creative person, like I can't just leave DJing behind, start a new chapter, and this new chapter doesn't have an ounce of creativity, right? And she was like, well, what do you want to do? And the more popular that I was becoming as a DJ, I obviously needed like press releases and press kits of myself. And um, a press kit would be like a zipped folder with all your flyer images, your headshots, your logos, um, a biography, discography, um, and maybe like a couple DJ sets,
mm,
and you would package this together, and that's how you would promote it to that's how you would promote yourself to the nightclub promoters.
mhm,
um and and I was kind of just like looking at the photos and the videos that were being taken of me when I was like playing my shows, and I was going back to a couple photo shoots that I would do for my DJ brand. And I started kind of like remembering like how I felt in that moment,
mm,
right? I was like, you know what? These people made me feel really, really cool. They made me feel like somebody that I am not,
mm,
right? Because again, like when you're DJing, it's like any singer. You're acting, you're going there, you're putting on a performance, right? Like I don't expect like a perfect example, right? Like I'm sure when Ozzy Osbourne goes back home and he's sitting on his couch, he's not biting the heads off bats, right? Like he's just a typical guy sitting on his couch watching TV, putting
mm.
his feet up. You know what I mean?
Yes.
So the persona that I built around it made me feel like they just these photographers and videographers knew how to capture it very, very well.
Mm,
And I bring that up because when I look back at it, I remember going to my wife and I go, I think I want to get a camera. I think I want to pick up a camera. And this is almost 10 years ago. And I go, I think I want to pick up a camera. And she goes, really? Like, okay, why? Why do you want one? And I go, because I want to make other people feel cool the way I was able to feel cool in those moments that
mm, mm,
my picture and video were being taken, right?
mm,
And and I think that's what does it for me, is like knowing that I can, even for a split second, if I can like shine a different light on how someone views themselves, and kind of put them on a pedestal and make them go, wow, I look like that, that's me, that's what I look like.
mm.
That does it for me. That takes it home for me.
Beautiful. Love that. Wow. A lot of things. So I asked you earlier, what is one thing that you used to value, don't value anymore? Now, let me ask you the other way around. What is one thing that you did not value before, but you're valuing now?
um I would say more. hmm, well, one thing I definitely value more is my network, my connections, my
Mm-hmm.
audience. Um, if it wasn't for if it wasn't for everybody, including yourself, like
Sure.
I wouldn't be here, right? Um, I I value in the last, at least within the last like 6 months to a year, um, I value my relationship with God.
Oh yes,
Um, that's something that is going to be ongoing. It's going to be ever growing. Um, I definitely don't have it perfect or nor near perfect at this stage. Um, but knowing that I can just, randomly throw my thoughts out there, and um whether he's listening or not, like, I mean, I just find it interesting. You know what I mean?
mm,
It's like it's like someone it's like one of those, like, it's like just having somebody there who's like directly yet indirectly listening to you at the same time. Like, it's, I don't know, I just, there's something about it that I find really, really cool. um Another thing that I value, like, I'm valuing my time a lot more. Like,
oh yes,
I'm valuing like who I spend time with. I value, um yeah, like, I think I'm just taking my time less for granted, for sure.
absolutely,
And then, of course, like, obviously, like, I value my family and my wife and all that, but I mean, I would hope that I don't have to actually say those things, and that they're, they're established already.
absolutely,
Uh,
yeah,
but yeah, those are pretty much it. I want to, as I grow older, I want to do less. I don't want to do more, but I still want to maintain the same level, if not higher, of like success, I guess.
absolutely, absolutely. I hear you.
Yeah. Yeah,
Now,
yeah, go ahead.
so keep going, keep going. Sorry.
Oh, I was just gonna say, like, there's people in the videography space or the film space that are like, trying to chase 10 clients a month, where
Oh,
I'm in a position where I'm trying to chase 10 clients a year, right?
oh yeah,
So it's just one of those things where it's like, yeah, my time is very, I like it more now. Yeah.
yeah. Focusing on quality, not quantity. I'm the same as you, brother. Absolutely, absolutely. Now let's move forward.
Yeah,
You like traveling, right?
absolutely.
All right, we can do an entire show just on traveling, but we'll do it another time. For now, I want to take you down a different type of traveling, down memory line. Go back to when you were growing up. You know, when we were kids, people around us, parents, relatives, neighbors, teachers, friends, they always ask us, "Hey, Lefteris, what do you want to become when you grow up?" What does you answer that question as a young boy?
I don't know, you probably wouldn't believe it.
Hockey player?
Till this till this day, um, I am still a huge fan of the sport. And
Mm.
growing up, all I ever wanted to be was a WWE superstar.
Oh wow, amazing!
I wanted to be a wrestler. My, like, it was just in my blood. Anything, like, I just had like an obsession with
Mm,
WWE. Um, I wouldn't say that I am obsessed with it today, but
mm,
I still follow it, yet not religiously. It's just one of those things that will always be a part of me. Like, I'm never gonna let that go, right? But
yeah,
yeah, yeah, yeah. Everybody wanted to be a policeman, an astronaut, a doctor. I wanted to be a wrestler.
yeah. Who was your favorite wrestler growing up?
My favorite wrestler of all time was Shawn Michaels. He was, yeah, I don't know, there was just something about him that he had this attitude about him that was just, I don't know, he was like the cool guy,
Mm,
didn't really care about anybody. Um, he did what he had to do always to kind of like survive. He was always stealing the show. He would always one up his performances, right?
mm.
Um, you know, I don't know, I mean, you don't get the nickname Mr. WrestleMania for not
Oh
always
yeah.
one-upping yourself, right?
Mhm.
Then there was other people like Stone Cold Steve Austin, The Undertaker, The Rock.
Oh yeah.
Um, but yeah, I kind of just like I had quite a few. Like I don't think I would ever say like one specific person always did it for me. They all played a pivotal role in my upbringing.
Cool. Awesome. Wow. I can relate to that because me growing up, I wanted to be a football player, soccer player. I grew up in France and Europe, so most boys in that part of the world they want to play football. So
Yeah,
I resonate with that. Awesome. Now,
nice.
growing up, what was your relationship with school? Did you love school or did you hate school?
Oh, education wise,
Yeah.
hated it. Hated it. I loved it because actually, you know what? It's really it's actually really funny. I loved it up until I discovered wrestling.
Ah, how old were you when you discovered wrestling?
um, I want to say 10. Yeah. Yeah, I discovered it when I was 10. So it was kind of like from junior kindergarten until probably grade 3. I loved school. I got to hang out with my friends. We had recess. We got to do arts and crafts. We got to, like just the whole thing. It was like the whole thing of just the atmosphere of being there and just doing things with people and learning was awesome. And then the moment I found wrestling, everything just kind of went downhill from there. All I cared about was wrestling. I didn't care about anything else. Um, my grades dropped. I mean, we also moved to a different area. Like I went from I went from living in one suburb to another suburb in which
Hmm.
I had to go to a completely different school. I had to make new friends. I was kind of like
Yeah.
I was a loser, but like let's be realistic. That's the best way of putting it, right? Um and I think because of that, it just kind of turned me off from school in general, right?
Mm,
Um, not having many friends. I lost a lot of my old friends because I couldn't make
sure.
time for them anymore
Hmm.
because I was working on this new area of my life. But yeah, elementary school wasn't they weren't my golden years. That's for sure. Like I had a tough time. I was bullied too, right? So um yeah, but you know what's funny thing is like even when I was being bullied, I would always show up with a smile on my face.
That's
It was like nothing ever really bothered me. It was just because like life is still no matter what you go through, you're just supposed to have fun, right?
absolutely love that. Now, when you were in school, what was your favorite and your least favorite subject? And that applies to any schooling from kindergarten to university, whatever.
Um, well, it's funny because I found a new like I found all my interest in subjects like well after I left school,
Mm,
right? But looking back on it now, excuse me, I would say my favorite subjects, which I wish I could have paid a little bit more attention to, well, maybe one over the other, but math and religion.
wow. They were teaching religion in school back then?
I went to a Catholic school, so
Okay, makes sense.
I always grew up going to Catholic schools. So yeah, um, in high school, religion was a credit.
Mm,
Um, but I have to say like I have to say, like, shame on me because I always looked at religion class as just like the easy credit. Like, you're gonna show up, you're gonna read a couple scriptures, you're gonna whatever, you're gonna rewrite them, you're gonna take an exam, and boom, you're gonna pass, right?
yeah.
Um, but I truly wish I paid a little bit more attention back then, because in in grade 12, religion class was actually philosophy.
Mm.
So, and that was a class I never showed up to. Um, never showed up to. I think I had the most. I think I took the most absences out of any other student in that class. Um, I probably showed up for like a week or two of the
Was it
entire semester.
was it because of the teacher that turned you off, or just the entire subject just didn't speak to you?
No, it was just the subject. Like I
Okay.
said, like I looked at I looked at the course or like the credit as just like something that was just an easy pass, right?
Yeah.
Um, and now and the reason why I say shame on me is because now knowing that I have this relationship with God, I'm like, Mike, like geez, like I should like I was such a I was so bad growing up. Like I had a lot of
Mm.
demons growing up, and now I'm happy that like I've started to get rid of them.
Yeah. I hear you, man. Fast forward. Let's move fast forward. Imagine that we're in the same class in grade 10, 11. What kind of student were you? Were you the You mentioned you were, I remember you said you were the clown of the class, right?
Yes.
All right. So as a clown of the class, how was it being with you in class?
Um, for some, I would say it was entertaining. For
Mm,
others, I would say it was annoying because there there were obviously students there that were there to learn, and I was
mm,
being annoying and disruptive, and then the other students were obviously my friends and my colleagues, and they enjoyed my sense of humor, and they enjoyed the
mm.
things that I would do, and we would kind of talk and whatnot. Um, yeah, I would say entertaining and annoying. Those would probably be the two best words. And I'm sorry if anybody is listening to this now.
No worries.
Um, you know, I'm sorry if I've ever disrupted your class and your studies.
Are you still in touch with a few people from your high school years or even before that?
Um, I'm only in touch with one of my friends, Mark, who him and I met in senior kindergarten.
Oh, wow.
Uh, so we would have been 4 or 5 years old at the time.
Mm,
Um, but other than that, no, 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 no. Um,
mm.
Looking back on it, I'm actually very happy that I'm not because you leave people behind, right?
Yeah,
And like I definitely would want to. I would have wanted to leave the person that I was behind.
sure.
Um, and it's funny because Alex Harmozy spoke about this in one of his videos, how he was like, people remember a specific image of you. They don't
Mm,
view you how you are now, right?
absolutely. Yeah,
They'll always say, "Oh, bro, you used to do this," and "Oh man, remember when we were like that," and da da da. But um, they don't really talk about how you are now and the changes that you've made and all that. So, um, I'm really happy that I got to leave that life behind. Honestly, I'm happy that I left
yeah,
those people behind too. Um, hey, people are around for either a reason, a season, or a lifetime, right? That's
absolutely. And also the person you're at the specific time in your life, for example, you or me or anyone when we're in high school or whatever, 99% we're completely different people because we're in different things. We learn different things that we want to pursue. We value different things than when we valued before. So of course we're a different person. Speaking of that, did you ever go to any of those reunion? Or are you open to going to any of the reunions to meet and maybe catch up to see what some of your classmates have become?
um no, no, I think if I was actually interested in that, I would I can just always look them up on Facebook, but
Yeah.
I don't care to do that either. I
Okay.
really don't. Um and yeah, no, I don't care for the reunions.
Okay. So when you were in school, were you popular with the girls?
I was popular with the girls outside of my school, not within my school.
How's that?
Yeah, very interesting. Well, when I came into high school, I changed high schools halfway through. So again, everybody kind of already knew each other.
Mm,
Everybody kind of already had their
clicks,
cliques
yeah.
and their groups and everything. So I was I was kind of just like coming in as like again the new kid, right?
Mm.
Uh I never had problems with anybody. I mean, I was cool with everyone. Like, I mean, I just don't ever, you know what? It's kind of, allow me to, do I have permission to say a swear word?
Please, you're the star. Yes, go
All
ahead.
right. All right. So I always had this thing when it came to dating in high school where it's like, don't shit where you eat.
Mm-hmm.
Right. And I figured that like if I was to date a girl from my high school and things turned out bad or negative, it would just affect my daily life in high
Yeah,
school. Right. So I always made it a mission to date girls from other schools because
smart.
I can go there, I can take my lunch, I can skip class, I can see them after school, and then I can go to class and go to my school, and I don't have to worry about it. I don't have to worry about drama if things were to escalate or anything like that. So yeah, that's what I did. I always dated externally.
Nice, nice. That's a very smart way, and that applies also to work, to anything. Yes, yes. Beautiful. Now, do you remember what was your very first job, and do you remember how much you got paid the first time you worked?
Oh yeah. My first job was at my father's Mr. Greek. I was a bus boy, and I think he was paying me at the time $7.50 or $8 an hour plus tips.
Mm,
But then again, when I say $7 an hour, that was also like more or less what minimum wage was at that time, right?
plus free
Um,
food. Yeah.
I got my first job. I got my first job almost 20 years ago, right?
Mm,
So, um, yeah, it was great. Like my parents were always entrepreneurs. They never really they never really had any issues financially.
mm,
Um, not to say that we were crazy rich or anything. Um, but w- I guess what I would say is like the word no didn't really exist very much in my household. So um, I really didn't need to I really didn't need to help my dad or help with work or get a job, even if it was for working with family,
mm,
um, realistically till like closer to the end of high school,
mm,
right? Um, but yeah, 16, yeah, I remember 16 years old, Mr. Greek, all the like those 14-hour shifts during like long weekends and holidays because of all the tourists, like
mm,
it was crazy, crazy. Um, I don't miss it. Um, but my dad did hire this one waitress Leah, and she was like much older than me at the time. She was probably like in her um mid to late 20s, maybe even early 30s. Uh, she was cool. I remember her. She was cool. She always made work fun, and like we always just had a good time together when we were working. So yeah, thanks, Leah.
that's awesome, man. You mentioned Mr. Greek. That's one of the things, growing up in Toronto, we all go to the malls and looking for Mr. Greek. I can't tell you what I would give for right now to have a Mr. Greek where I am right now because I'm in Vietnam. There's no sight of a Greek food anywhere here.
Oh
I miss it so
no.
much, man. I miss it so much. Yeah, that was awesome. All right, now let's move forward. From the time you left school, from the time you left school to now, how would you describe your path? Would you say it was pretty much straightforward, smooth sailing once you get into one lane? You were set for life, or was it more like turns and twists, like a roller coaster?
There were, oh my gosh, there were definitely a lot of twists and turns. It wasn't it definitely was not a straight line whatsoever.
Mm,
Um growing up in a European household, you know, your parents have this idea of you and what they want you to become and whatnot. Um,
What did your parents
on
want you to
top,
become?
oh, you know, like I mean, they didn't really like. I'll be honest, they didn't really have any set careers for me, but there was a point in my life where nothing was like there was like little to no consistency,
Mm.
and and I think for them it was just like, and it was actually really funny because it was like, you're turning 19, you're turning 20, oh my God, we're scared that you're not going to do anything with your life, even though I'm still kind of like a kid, right? um and you know, I got pushed in a lot of different directions, um while still, you know, trying to pursue this whole DJ thing, and because I was like still like kind of like the beginning of my career. um and and you know, I went to college. A month in, I dropped out. I said it wasn't for me. um I went to, or what else I did any job really that my parents would push me into. Uh Hairdressing was fun, was one of them. That was actually fun. I did admit that was actually fun. I guess because like I always got to hang out with a bunch of girls too. So I mean that was cool. Um and but yeah, just there was a point in time where it was kind of just like, instead of letting me kind of figure out what I wanted to do and what I'm gonna, you know, what my interests are and whatnot. um there I was always being like fed, oh,
Mm.
do this, do that, do this, do that, oh, the money's good, oh, you're gonna have a pension, oh,
Oh,
like, you know, just
yes.
everything and anything you can think of, right? um and I think I think really like kind of bothered them too was the fact that, you know, I wasn't showing any signs of interest, right?
Mm.
And don't get it twisted, you know, it's not like they were controlling, or that they were trying to control my life in any which way, shape, or form. uh because I they did ask me often, what do you want to do, like what are you interested in? But at the same time, I don't think they gave me the breathing room to let me actually figure it out either.
Wow.
Right. So I feel like if I was able to just have that breathing room,
Mm.
maybe I would have been a filmmaker at 22 years old and not 32 years old. Right. Um, maybe uh I would have done things like a lot differently, um, a lot sooner. But at the same time, God puts you where He wants you at the time that He needs you at certain places.
Absolutely.
So do I like? So I never live with the regret of like,
Mm.
oh, I wish I could have done this 20 years ago, 15 years ago. I wish I started sooner. No, I don't wish I started sooner. I I wish I started when I actually was meant to start, because before that moment, it's not like I had a bad life.
Mm.
It's not like it's not like I was living in poverty where like I was royally kicking myself in the ass, you know? So no, I'm thankful for everything, but yeah, it was not a pleasant road.
Yes. But you know what? You said something that I can resonate with. Absolutely. You said you are where you're meant to be. So, for example, you getting into filmmaking at 32 is when you were meant to be, not at 22, because we're not ready, either mentally or don't have the skills or whatever. But you had to go through, say, being a DJ, learning the skills you needed to, the socializing skills and all that, the mental set and all that, so that when you actually come there, you're actually ready. You have all the skills, the talent, all of that, the storytelling, the tech side, everything, so that when you get there, you're gonna crush it from the get go. So you are where you're meant to be. Don't compare yourself with others. Your only competition is the version of you 24 hours earlier, and that's one of the things I live by. So makes
Amazing.
sense. Yeah, awesome. Now, there's a saying that says, "Change your story, change your life." And by story, I mean what we tell ourselves in our head all day long. So when you left us, you were going through some of your darkest, most difficult challenges of your life. How did you change your story internally inside your head to change your reality externally?
Yeah, so I mean, well, when I was in my like in my 20s, in my later 20s,
Mm,
um, I think my mindset was it was consumed. I mean, it was consumed a lot by narcotics, right? So
mm,
I don't think uh, I don't think I would have told myself the right story during that time. Um, but even now, well, here's the thing, like I would always say to myself that I would become a millionaire by 40. I don't know why. I don't know why I said 40. It's just a number that came out when I said it. Um, and I said this like in during that time too in my mid to late 20s. Um, and I now thinking about it, I feel like I said that too, just because I think I still had a lot of growing up to do myself
mm.
and figuring things out. Um, but yeah, I always said I'd be a millionaire by 40. And still got 3 years. So let's
You're on the right track.
we're on that train. We're gonna root for me to get there. Um,
Absolutely.
but yeah, now Jay especially can attest to this. Like
Mm,
he he gives me something to do, or he gives me advice on something, and then he's just like, holy crap, you already made a post about it. Holy crap, you already made a video about it. Like like I'm very I think just when I have something in my mind, I just go for it. I just run with it. I do it. I don't let it I don't let it stop me. Um
mm,
and I think just the fact that I guess I don't really let myself stay in a dark place for very long because of it, right? Because
beautiful.
if I do get it, if I do get, what's considered a dark moment in my head, right away I'm just kind of like, nope, it's out. I'm gonna do this. We gotta push this out. Let's just go for it. Forget everything else. Like go. Well, once it's done and it's out and it's promoted, we'll figure it out as we go.
Mm,
Right. That's kind of how I do things. I'm not I'm not just sitting there, as I'm doing it, I'll probably like be mopey or whatever, like on the couch with my wife or something, and I'll just be like, "Oh man, I can't believe we're in this position," or blah 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 blah. But like, I don't ever show it. I don't let it affect my work.
mm,
Um, I've also given I've also I guess I don't let it affect my work either, because I I've also let myself stop working if I'm not feeling it.
mm. Oh,
Like a lot of people will say like, oh, push through your garbage, push through your pain, push through this, push through that. I look at it as, if I'm like, and I mean it's different in every situation, right? um I might have a little bit more flexibility to do this than somebody else, but if I was if you were to hire me as a filmmaker, and then I was to edit your film while being in like a poor state of mind, I'm going to give you a poor project back, right? Uh, I would rather, like, what I do now is like, if I wake up one morning and I know that I have to edit, but I don't feel like editing, I
Mm,
literally don't work. I
absolutely.
just don't work. I just don't work. I would rather wait an extra day, maybe be as transparent as possible without physically saying like, hey man, I just didn't care to work on your project today, but say it in a nicer way. But I would rather just give myself that additional day to recoup, to maybe get rid of the brain fog that I have, or maybe get something off my get something off my mind that's in my mind that's blocking me from doing the work, whatever the case might be. I would rather just not work and come back at it the following day with a fresh pair of eyes, a fresh pair of ears, and then give the project the love and attention that it deserves. Um, and I think a lot more people would I think a lot more people, even if they had to wait an additional week to get their project, I
Hmm.
think they would respect me a lot more for it than give it to them on a deadline and a due date, but it's half-assed, and then I have to go through all these revisions anyways.
Absolutely. I'm with you. If I, for example, there's nothing worse, and I learned that both in school and business and work, doing something when your mind is not in it or you're not fresh enough, there's no point, because just like you said, it's not going to be a quality work. Take the time and do it when you're really ready, when you're really inspired. And then, yes, people will be more understanding and respect you more because of that, because at the end of the day, what people want, they want quality work. So,
Yeah.
absolutely. Now, let's talk about your business. So you said you're a filmmaker. How did you get into that?
Um, it's kind of in my blood. Like my my grandfather, he he pioneered radio and television broadcasting for the Greek community in Toronto.
Wow.
So when he came here as an immigrant, there was no Greek TV, there was no Greek radio, there was no Greek newspapers. Like, you had all these immigrants coming here, some of them by themselves, some of them as young families. Like, they left their parents behind, brothers, siblings, sisters. Like,
Hmm.
they left people behind with little to no communication, right? Because it's not like it was very easy to do a long distance call in the 60s or the 70s, right? Uh, I don't think that really started becoming a thing until like the 80s. But he bridged that gap for like over 500,000 Greeks to be able to get the news, to be able to get um
Hmm.
television programming, radio, music, like, you name it. Like, he
Sports,
brought
entertainments.
Greece.
Yes, yes, yes.
My grandfather literally brought Greece to Canada, you know?
Wow.
Um and I was always a part of that. Like, I remember being like a year, year and a half, like, sitting on the potty watching my mom on TV, like, watching my mom do her segment on TV, watching my dad on TV, like, interviewing like celebrities, prime ministers, mayors, public figures, you name it, right? Um, I remember as I started growing a little bit older and I was able to do things like, and when I mean older, I mean like in and around like the 8 to 12 mark, um and potentially even younger. I remember going to concerts with my parents because they were bringing the artists from Greece, and they were packing banquet halls, they were packing concert halls, they were putting the shows on for all these people. And I'm backstage in the green room with the artists, the same artists that, like, my dad would come home and bring a CD or a vinyl home for me to listen to. so I can get like familiar with the music and fall in love with these artists as well.
Mm.
Um, we had celebrities like when they were coming from Greece to Toronto, they would be living in our house, they would be staying with us,
Whoa.
right?
Mhm.
Yeah, so we were public figures and pioneers in the Greek community. Um, I always thought like my dad was like some mafia boss because I remember us going to like the Danforth, which is Greek town in Toronto,
Yes, yes, yes.
and I remember, being like a little kid, maybe 5, 6 years old, holding his hand, right? And we're at a street corner, and there'd be people like handing my like random people coming up to my dad, like handing him money, and I don't even know why. And I'm thinking he's like this like mafia guy.
Here to
But
collect.
yeah, here to collect, exactly. So yeah, it was just really it was just an amazing upbringing. It was really
Wow.
really a fantastic time, and I think that's also kind of like what led me to music, music, because I was always in that environment.
Mm,
And then, at the same time, my parents having radio and television, I think that's what brought me to film, right? So it was kind of always in my blood. It was always in my blood to be an entertainer. And the one thing that my grandfather said to me when I was 15 years old, and I hold it dearly, and it's kind of like my mantra, is, and remember, this is a guy who had probably like 1 million followers when social media wasn't even a thing. The internet wasn't even a thing. So you guys want to talk about like gurus of audience retention? My grandfather is the guru of audience retention, okay?
wow.
But he said to me, and he knew that he saw it, like he was such a visionary that he saw the path that I was going on, that I was taking kind of this like solo entrepreneurial journey. um and he said to me, he goes, it doesn't matter what you're selling or offering. It
Mm,
doesn't matter if you have a product or a service. It doesn't even matter where you're located.
mm,
As long as the people love you, you'll
that's it.
never be out of work.
That's it. Because what is business at the end of the day? It's not a numbers game. Sure, numbers matter, but it's a relationship nurturing process. We do business with people we like, trust, and relate with. For example, you or me. Let's say you're looking for a doctor, an accountant, or a baker. Sure, they're all qualified, but the one you will do business with and I will do business with, the one we connect the most to the person. If me and you, we don't get along as people, as man to man, human to human, I don't care who you are, you don't care who I am, we're not going to talk, let alone do business with. So in that case, yes, absolutely. This is one of the most powerful lessons I learned through my podcast and over the years after living in all these countries and doing business around the world for the past 10, 15 years. It's all about that. It's about connection, trust,
Yeah.
rapport.
Yeah. You will go, if you don't have a connection with me personally,
Yep.
you will go to a filmmaker that does half, that does a quarter of the work that I do, but you just
Mm.
like him. You just love that person. You know what I mean? So it doesn't, and I'm noticing this more and more as like I'm having more conversations with people. It's like, I don't care that you're a YouTube strategist. I don't care that you're an 8-figure coach. I don't care that
Exactly.
you can help you can help my funnel and my CRM problems. I don't care. I care that I like you. I care
That's
that
it.
we can get along. I care that we can be in a relationship with each other for a very, very long time. I always say to people that if like I treat, and at the end of the day, like everybody is a vendor, right? Everybody is a vendor. So I always say that I treat my vendors like I treat my barber,
Oh, yes.
right? Right? I'm going to go to my barber for the next 40 years. So if you have me as a client and we're doing awesome work together, like, believe me, I'm not going anywhere, right? And that's why I take who I'm investing my income to very seriously, because I'm not here just to do 3 months of work with you. I'm not here to just
Mhm.
do 1 year of work, not even 5 years of work. Like, I'm here to have you in my toolbox for the rest of my life. So I guess if anybody's listening to this part of the show, like, think of that when you're trying to pitch me, especially, right? Like,
Oh
think
yes,
of it in a sense where it's like, okay, if I'm gonna have Lefty for 40 years, not just for 3 months. So I gotta stop giving him, the cookie cutter DM templates.
absolutely, absolutely. I'm so with you on that, brother. Absolutely, absolutely. You mentioned being a filmmaker, so I understand that
Yeah.
you do mainly documentaries. What made you
Yes.
what made you hone in on documentaries, not short movies or full features and other types of, or like commercials? Tell us about. Basically, my question is, what kind of films do you do?
Yeah, so I do I film documentaries. There's actually four types of documentaries, by the way, but I'll get that into that in a sec.
Mm,
Um, I do documentaries and adaptations.
okay.
So, um, for those that might not have heard the term adaptation before, um, it is exactly what it means, right? It's I'm taking someone. Well, here's a perfect example. Tuan from Kingdom Impact Coaching, right? He has an incredible backstory, but he's also in Texas, and I'm here in Toronto, and we want to do a movie together, but I came to him with the idea of doing a film, right? So that film would require me hiring a crew of actors and do location scoutings and all this stuff. And he would give us the backstory, but we were in charge of the script. So an adaptation would be how I envision the events went
Mm,
down, right? It's my recreation of what happened, right? Um, Perfect example, The Wolf of Wall Street is a story about Jordan Belford's
mhm,
rise to the top, right? So The Wolf of Wall Street is actually an adaptation. Um, so yeah, with documentaries, there is uh you have something that I like to call the 1 day doc, uh, which is something that I film in 3 days and delivered in 30. It's not a large documentary whatsoever. It's kind of like um I like to think of it as like the gateway drug. Like, you're
mm,
just like, you're kind of getting your toes wet in the water. You're starting to give people, or give your audience, um a higher production value from you, and kind of wanting to go in more of that emotional route, as opposed to um just your typical garbage short form content. Um, then you have a short film, then you have a feature film, then you have a docu series. So feature film documentaries is essentially what you'll see on like Netflix, Prime, Hulu, HBO. They're
mhm,
your 1 hour, 90 minute, 2 hour full length documentaries. Um, in the entrepreneurial world, I mean, would I consider this a docu series? I was going to use the Hormozis as an example, but the
mhm.
Hormozis is more like the Kardashians. It's more like real reality television.
Yeah.
It's not really a docu series. Um, Docu series are those documentaries that are just episodic, right?
Mm,
Where there's a lot to unravel, but you're not gonna you're not gonna pack everything into like a 2 hour feature film,
mhm.
right? you might end up with like 6 or 7, 8, maybe even 10 1-hour episodes, right? Um, yeah, then you have your short film. Your short
Mhm.
film can be you kind of dive a little bit deeper into like backstories. You get to put a little bit more context. Um, you you could potentially fit a cameo. You can bring other people in to be interviewed. You just have a little bit more wiggle room because short films can be like 30 minutes in length, right?
Mhm.
30 to 45 minutes.
Yeah.
Um, then with the adaptations, I mean, yeah, you can do short film, you can do feature film. I got into the film industry to actually do movies, and I do movies, but I like I was always a big fan of like true crime, drama, thrillers. Like those are the genres that like really speak to me. So I though that's kind of like the playground I play in, right?
Mm.
Is I just actually finished a short film a couple weeks ago. Um we we talked about this one had to do with homelessness, and um I can't wait for it to come out. Again,
Wow.
short film. Again, short film. It was like 7 minutes, but yeah, it's very. I think it has a really good message,
Mm.
and it probably won't be coming out until like 2024 at some point. Um, but yeah, every documentary has some sort of adaptation or recreation aspect to it, because
Mhm.
not everybody who tells their story has the related footage to go with that piece of the puzzle, right?
Mhm.
Maybe you didn't record your life. Maybe your parents didn't own a camcorder um to show like your fifth birthday or whatever, you know. Um you didn't have an iPhone or any phone when you were in high school, especially one with a camera in it. So these are things that I add. It's that special touch where the average person will immediately go to um stock footage. They'll immediately go to any website with stock footage, and they'll be like, "Oh, let's try and find the corresponding shot with that goes with what this gentleman or woman is saying." Me, I'm just like, whoa, 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 whoa. Okay. Um, you need to budget for an elementary school or a playground. I need to get like child actors. Like
Oh
I'm
wow.
thinking like, oh yeah, like I'm thinking the bigger picture. Like I'm
Mhm.
thinking like when I'm gonna make a documentary for somebody, I really want it to be like a custom Italian suit. Like
You go all
something that
in.
is
Yeah.
I go all in. I go all in. There's no ifs, ands, or buts about it. And there's so many ways of getting things done that I teach in my
Mm.
doc tank, um, where you can fund your entire projects and not even spend a dime. And you can cover my wages, you can cover everybody else's wages that are a part of the project, and you can make some money too if there's still some left in the pot
Mm.
prior to the film actually being released, because majority of ROI comes from after the investment, right?
So you're doing,
Um,
so you're offering basically a full-on bespoke service to your clients.
yes,
Mm.
yes. We even go as far as original score.
What do you mean original score?
I have composers on my team.
Holy wow.
Yeah. So nothing is like you're never gonna be able to watch a film from me and be like, oh, Lefty got that on Artlist or on Epidemic Sound or on Music Bed or on uh whatever other sites that are there for music and sound effects and all that. We do everything original.
Mhm. Wow. That's am-
Yeah.
that's amazing. Wow. I'm speechless. What is what is the documentary that you've made so far? Share with us basically an example of the most remarkable, the most fulfilling projects you've done so far that really you were able to really bring to life in the most authentic, most faithful way that I know that's pretty much the case with all of your documentaries, but the one that really made both you and your client really not only wow, but really proud.
That would be Reinventing Freedom that I did with Robert J. Moore.
Mm,
We we spent about a month together. Well, more than a month, but if I was to condense everything, we probably filmed for like 30 days.
mm,
And yeah, that was my first movie theater release. Um, so being able to see like my project on like the big screen, like the Cineplex movie theater.
mm-hmm,
Um, I I don't know if in the States they have Cineplex, so you guys would probably like our Cineplex would be like your AMC.
mm-hmm.
Um, but but yeah, there's yeah, seeing it on the big screen, um just I think what also I won awards. Like I don't know if you could see them here, but I won best cinematography and I won a lifetime achievement
Wow.
award. Um, we also won best feature 7 times.
Wow.
So yeah, we won best feature 7 times. Um, that was pretty cool. And I think this one did it for me, not only because it was my person
Sorry, I don't
that
know what happened. Sorry, I don't know what happened. We got disconnected. Just oh wow, that's amazing. 7 times awards. Wow, fantastic.
yeah, it was really cool. I mean, I don't have enough room on my desk to even be able to put them on there. So, but
You can send the picture.
um
I'll post them in the show notes after.
yeah, I have a picture holding them up. But yeah, I think I hold this one dear to my heart because there was uh it, it it was the first time, it was the first film that I did where I was transitioning out of video sales letters where I wasn't held responsible for somebody else's success.
Mm, that's big.
Um, yeah, like video sales letters, when I was in that world with promotional marketing, people I don't know, like we got into this craze of video being like kind of like the be all end all, or like video being the hot thing and everybody had to do video, otherwise you were going to just be forgotten about. And during that time, it was just like I don't know, like I'm not going to say everybody did this to me, but I did have a few bad apples in a sense where it was like if I if something if I delivered a project to them or a video to them and the project didn't make the money, or the video didn't make the money, it was my fault.
Mm,
Yet my video has nothing to do with your sales process. It has nothing to do with how much traffic you're driving to your website or landing page or funnel. It has nothing to do with how good of a closer you are, and so on and so forth.
mm,
But but if you didn't generate an income, it was my VSL's problem. It was my VSL's fault, right? So that was that's when I kind of realized that I'm not here to be responsible for other people's success. I'm
totally.
here to give you a tool. I'm here to give you a tool in your toolbox, and it's your responsibility to do what you need to do with it.
Absolutely.
And documentaries gave me that way out.
Mm-hmm.
It allowed me to, like, don't get it twisted. Like, I'm proud of my work. I promote the living hell out of my work, but it's my responsibility to advertise my work for myself. I'm not advertising my work to get someone else more business,
Mm-hmm.
right? So um so at the end of the day, documentaries allowed me to um be a lot more collaborative with my clients. It's it's become more of like a partnership and like something that we have fun with. Like, all right, well, how are we making money together from this? Oh, do we need to do a GoFundMe? Do we need to obtain sponsorships? Like, are we gonna have a theater release? Is there like a membership area before it goes to the public? Are we doing film festivals? Like, there's so many more fun avenues that allows me to have more of like a playground vibe with my clients, if that makes any sense, right? Like, we're just two kids in the sandbox, you
Mm-hmm.
know, like just trying to build the best castle, you know?
Yes.
Um and and I think that collaborative approach where we now we now both are able to earn lifetime ROI from the projects that we do together, it makes it even more fun because it's not one-sided. It's
Mm-hmm.
not like oh, you did this for me, it didn't work, it's your fault,
Mm-hmm.
right? A project can only go as far as you're willing to take it. But at the end of the day, it's less headaches, and it's, even though it's more work, there's less headaches and less stress. Does that
Absolutely.
make sense?
Absolutely. Yes, yes, yes. It's all like you're creating something together. You're not just as a customer and client relationship. It's more like a partners. You're building something together. That's much more meaningful, fulfilling, and much more fun. At the end, the end result is much, much, much more powerful and impactful. Absolutely. Love that.
Yeah.
How are you getting your clients?
Um, well, yeah, how am I getting my client? I do a lot of outreach. I do primarily a lot of outreach right now. To be honest with you, I'm actually not really focused on clients too much right now. I have how many do I have right now? I think I have 4 right now, but I'm not I'm not really looking for clients. Um my focus is building my YouTube channel. Um because if when you build one thing, the clients will come, right? Like,
Mm,
I don't know, for those of you that know, but YouTube, when you hear of a YouTube millionaire, it's very rare that they're getting those they're hitting those numbers just from people watching their videos,
mm-hmm.
right? You might, I mean, the average YouTuber, it's these are numbers from last year, but the average YouTuber only makes between like 65 and 85,000 a year.
Mm.
Um, you make the money from sponsorships, from brand deals, um, actually acquiring clients from the videos,
Oh,
right?
yes.
So, so that's where the other $800,000, let's say, comes from. You know what I mean? It's all the sponsors and the brand deals and everything else.
Yeah.
But like, if you're hitting 6 figures on YouTube, like, consider that like a blessing, because it's very difficult to go further than that, right?
Mm-hmm.
Um but yeah, I'm just focused on my YouTube channel. I'm focused on um building that to a point where I can do it. And every conversation that I have, it's like every conversation that I'm having right now is like I'm always redirecting them to a specific video or a specific playlist. Because I mean, think about it like this. Like you you get to pay me, and all I ask for is maybe 5 minutes of your time, and I still get paid for that.
Mm-hmm.
Right? Where I'm not asking you for a penny. I mean, okay, like, different story if you really love my video and you use the super thanks feature, which is like a tip. But I mean, at the end of the day, it's like, if you don't do that, it's it's literally free. Like,
Mm-hmm.
you get to pay my wages for free because somebody else is paying those wages for me, aka the advertisers.
Yes.
Right? So right now I'm kind of on this hunt to get the minimum 5 to 10K months on my YouTube channel. This way I can um I can serve more, because I'm actually at this point in my life, I'm actually trying to take more of like a philanthropic approach to documentaries.
Mm.
I'm also teaching how people can um get everything they want using somebody else's money. So at the end of the day, it it's like, yeah, the more support, I guess you could say, the more support I can get on my YouTube channel, the you're only helping me help you faster, potentially for free.
Mm.
Right? So it's like, if I can, I don't know, maybe I'm crazy, but if I told you right now, um, if I could save you 50 to $100,000, I just need you to binge watch my channel. Would you do it?
Absolutely. What's your channel again?
Lefteris Koutinas. That's all it is. It's my
Okay,
name.
I'll watch it right after. Start watching after this call.
but
Because I'm a
but
YouTuber. I love to learn more from people that are more advanced than me, and everybody's looking always to improve whatever business they're on. That's normal. As long as you're ambitious, you always want to learn from people that have been longer enough than you and learn. That's normal.
yeah. So that's just what it is, right? It's like,
Mm,
you know, you it, I want to be able to give back. And right now I'm on this mission to also be able to help underprivileged youth.
I love that. I love it. Tell me more about that. That was actually my next question. What is a cause that that is dear to your heart?
Oh, cool. Yeah. So um I under like I've come to the realization in the last couple months where um you know, as a filmmaker, it gets it gets really pricey.
Mm,
Like, it gets really pricey. I mean, this is I could probably like put a down payment on a second house just with the equipment that I have in my basement, right?
sure, yeah.
But but the thing is even at the basic level, let's go very, very basic. Like, you can get like the camera that I'm using currently right now, as my webcam. It's, I think, what it retails for about $700. Like, there are a lot of families out there who can't even afford to get their kids uh
Mm-hmm.
$600 camera,
Sure.
right? And that makes me sad. That makes me really, really sad. Um, so I kind of started this thing where I'm gonna start taking or using a percentage of my wages um to be able to at least give one underprivileged youth the opportunity to start their videography or editing or filmmaking journey.
Mm,
Um, I want to try and at least I want to do at least a minimum of one next year, but I am aiming for 5.
wow.
And and I'm hoping that those numbers um increase every single year. Uh
Beautiful.
as much as possible, or at least as much as I can handle, right?
I love that.
Um yeah, yeah. So I would be looking to potentially fork up roughly anywhere from $5,000 to $20,000 of like my own wages to help a few kids out,
Beautiful.
or
Love that.
more. I don't know, but that's kind of what I'm estimating it at right now. Um,
What
and
are you
it's
doing?
about getting.
What are you doing exactly to these kids? Are you teaching them the skills that they can maybe let alone use themselves to build to learn a high income skill? What are you doing exactly with these kids again?
I'm going to be providing them the gear necessary to be
Ah,
able to do the work.
okay,
Yeah,
okay.
yeah. So I'm providing them. I'm going to be providing them with the tools.
And then will you be mentoring them as well, teaching them the basics and all that?
I could. I haven't really thought that far. My goal is just being able to get them the equipment.
How are you going to select the kids? Is it going to be the kids around you in Toronto and Canada, or is it going to be in underprivileged countries?
Um, as of right now, I would probably I would probably do local.
Mm,
Um, just because it's easier for me to get
sure.
to those communities.
Mm-hmm.
Um, not to say that anybody else around the world doesn't deserve the same opportunity, but
Sure.
um yeah, I would probably start local and then expand, right? Just like any business, right? You
Sure.
start local and then you go national, then international, then global. Um,
Are you going to focus on
so
the Greek youth? Are you focus on pretty much any youth around you?
I'm focused on any youth.
Mm,
I'm focused on any youth. I mean, if it happens to be a Greek kid, cool, right? But
yeah,
yeah, no. I'm focused on anybody that truly wants to do this. I think
beautiful.
like I don't think the selection process my selection process will pretty much stem down to, is this truly a a realistic passion of yours,
Mm, that's
right?
amazing.
Like
Yeah.
I don't care about where you live. I don't care what background you are. I don't care what the color of your skin is. I don't care how little or how much little money you have. It really has nothing to do with that. And my selection process will stem down to um passion.
Mm. Beautiful. I love that. I love that. And when you do start out, let me know. I would love to bring you back on the show to talk about that, to help you further promote it. Because this is what my
Yeah.
podcast is about. It's about leaders of art, showcasing entrepreneurs who are building impactful businesses so we can inspire others to do good, to make the world a better place through their businesses. So absolutely love that. Thank you for that. I'm going to be cheering for you. Let me know anytime you want to come back. Let me know. We're going to talk more about that because that's beautiful. It's very in line with what I'm doing. So
Yeah,
awesome.
thanks.
All right. We've been talking for a while. I enjoy it. Beautiful conversation. Let's wrap things up. To finish, I'd like to ask you a series of rapid fire questions on advices. Ready?
Okay.
Okay. What's the best piece of advice you ever received in your life so far?
The one thing that my grandfather said to me: as long as people love you, you'll never be out of work.
Beautiful. What's the worst piece of advice you received so far?
The worst piece of advice?
Yes.
Um, I don't. Oh, I guess the worst piece of advice would be play it safe.
Yes. Agreed. Sorry. Imagine that you were blessed with a time machine. You can go back in time and sit face to face with 18-year-old Lefteris. What's the number one piece of advice you would give to him, knowing what you know now?
Nothing. He's supposed to be where he's supposed to be.
Love that. Do you have your own podcast?
I do not.
What's number one reason you haven't started yours yet?
Because I have a YouTube channel.
Beautiful. Imagine that you have a podcast today and you're interviewing the most special person in the world, and that is yourself. What's the first question that you want to ask yourself?
Mm, I actually don't know. I don't know how to answer that right now.
No worries. All right. Now, the last question I ask my guests, all of them, and that's my favorite question to ask, and that is, what is the smallest thing you've done in your life so far? And by small, I don't mean something small. I mean the one thing that has had the deepest, most profound positive impact on both your life and business. For example, for me, it's been starting my podcast. What about you, Lefteris?
Um, I would say for me it would be in investing in mentors and coaches. Like
Yes,
that
agreed.
that was the biggest game changer in my entire life. And reading more books. Like I got into I really got into reading maybe 2 years ago, 2.5 years
Mm.
ago, and I've just loved it ever since.
What book are you reading currently?
Um, the one book that is still on my table there that unfortunately I haven't had the opportunity to finish and has been sitting there for a little bit is So Good They Can't Ignore You.
Oh, I love that. I love that. Awesome. All right. And if someone wants to connect with you, what's the best way to do so?
Yeah, you could find my Facebook page, where you can find me on Facebook at Lefteris Koutinas. Um, you can go to my landing page and book a call with me, lefteriskoutinas.com, or you can binge watch my videos, youtube.com/at Lefteris Koutinas.
Awesome. Love that. Listen, I salute you. You're a true leader with a heart. Keep shining your light. Keep blessing the world, your presence, your impact with everything you're doing. Especially, I love what you said toward the end, where you want to help and mentor underprivileged kids. That's something that's really resonated with my heart. So thank you for that. Thank you for everything you're doing. You're amazing.
Thank
And
you.
when the time is right, I can't wait to work with you because I have a project in mind I want to bring to life maybe in the next year or two. We shared about that last time we spoke. And
Yep.
yeah, and I'm excited. So you have a phenomenal story. Looking forward to having you on my on volume 3 in the spring of 2024. So in the meantime, I salute you, brother. A fantabulous day ahead of you. Take care. Have a good one, brother.
Thank you.
Thank
See
you.
ya.
See you. Cheers.